Hey guys, I kind of wanted to walk you through a couple of our different transformations. So far we've talked about 4 different transformations. I just want to recap each of them so you'll see a couple of videos popping up here soon. This video is just talking about translation and essentially what a translation is, how it looks as a rule or a vector, using points, and then also looking at a graph, how we kind of move those things around. So first off, translation, we talk about what it is kind of in like normal terms. It's essentially I'm going to take a picture, an object, and I'm going to slide it. All of our transformations are going to keep the object the same size and shape. And translation here, we're just going to slide that object. Nothing about it actually changes. Okay. So the idea here when I think of a translation is I slide the object into some direction that it's telling us. Okay. The way this is going to look like in a rule is it's going to be, and our rules are always going to look the same at the beginning. It's always x comma y goes to. It's saying my original x and y value is going to change in this way. Normally what it'll look like is x plus or minus some value, comma, y plus or minus some value here. Okay? It's not going to be the plus and minus. It's just going to be either plus or minus something, so that's why I write the plus or minus there. Okay? And there'll be some type of number put in there, and you'll see an example here in just a second. Okay? The way it's written in vector form would be, instead of a parentheses, we've got kind of a less than looking symbol, and then I'll just fill in a number here and a number here. Again, I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. This would be the same as whatever you have here with your plus or minus whatever your number was. This will be the same here, plus or minus whatever your number was. Our vector form we usually will only use with translation. Some people like it because it's a little bit shorter. There's not as much writing as our rule up here. But our vector form is one that we usually only use with translation. So I usually say the rule is probably the better way to go because you're going to use that for all 3 of our, or 4, I guess, of our transformations. Okay. So what this might look like, if it looks, as far as a graph, what it'll look like, they'll give you some type of picture, and they'll give you a rule for the picture. I think you can see that, yep. So I got x comma y goes to, and they might say like x plus 4, y minus 2. Okay? So this would be an example of a rule. What this would look like in vector form, and I'll move this just a little bit up so you can see this part. If this exact same rule would be written as 4, -2 in vector form. This right here and this right here are the exact same thing. Okay? So when I go to actually graph this, it's just telling me all my x values are going to move to the right, 4. And this, for my y value, since it's minus, tells me I'm going to go down 2. Okay? For x's is left and right. If it's positive, you're going to the right. If it's negative, you're going to go to the left. For our y's, if it's negative, you're going down. Positive, you're going up. So I'm going to take each of my points, and I'm going to go, graphically, I would just go to the right 4. So I go 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces, 4 spaces. And then I'm going to go down 2, so 1, 2. So I know my new b is going to be down here. When we get to our new location, we don't just put b, we're going to put b prime. That's what this little apostrophe is. We call it prime notation. So anytime we do a move or a transformation, we're going to toss in that little prime notation. Okay. So I got b prime. C would be the exact same idea. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to the right, down 1, 2. So I have my new c prime. A, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1, 2. So there's my A prime. I'll draw my final graph, my final picture. It should look, again, my graph is not perfectly the exact same, but it should look like the exact same size and shape of our other picture, just slid over. And this would be an example of our final or kind of finishing touch. Okay? If you're looking at it as a point, so they might give you a point, and let's say I'm going to be given, let's say 7, -2 is my point. Say it's A. And they say use the same rule up here. So if I just have a point, how I'd go about this is I would just take the x values and add 4. So if I wanted to find what A prime was, I would just say 7 plus 4 gets me 11. -2 minus 2 gets me -4. So that would be how I do it without a graph. Some people like it with the graph. Some people like it with a point. You can do either way. If you're given a graph, you can always write those points out. So I could have wrote out each of these points first, done the rule, and then graphed the new points. Okay. Again, this is translation. This is just a general kind of quick look at this thing. Hopefully this helped you. and hope to see you guys soon.